All right, so we have just 2 3 minutes left. Let's informally start a little bit. So last week we created like 2 projects of React. The second project was literally called a second app. So we did that second app. So I have reached to this second app right now. And I just for the one more time, I would like to run it with you guys so that you know that how we run. Even though you should by now you should know that one. So we have come in this second app. I would just like to remind you a few things here, and after that I will create a new application, by the way. So what I'll do is that control clear, and you know how to run that, and npm run dev. We should be in the folder. Just keep in mind, we have to be inside the folder, and we run npm run dev and the project runs, right? Oh, okay. Why does not it run? Sorry? No, I'm inside the project. I'm inside second app, but I'm unable to run that.
The models?
Actually, I removed node modules to send you the folders on your course shell. So there's no node modules. Look at that. And if node modules is there, is not there, I cannot run my project. So it's a good thing to have, good problem to have. So what I need to do now, anyone? npm install. Yes, just run that npm install. Again, for all purposes in the world, we want to have node modules. The libraries, the headers that will be required to run the project. We don't have that right now. So you see that it's making those libraries and it's creating my node modules. And you remember I told you, that's why I just intentionally deleted them, because I have uploaded them on the course shell. Do you guys see that? There's a lecture recording as well available, both sessions, the Wednesday one and the Friday one, as well as there is these projects, second app, first app, and they are all without node modules. And I had to go and delete them. If I had uploaded them on GitHub, they would have already gone, right? But I had to, since I was sending. So you see that now it should be all good. And by the way, we are on time, so we are formally starting. It's not a npm run dev is the command that I want to run now. And when I run npm run dev, it should now run my project. And when it runs my project, it's basically running on port number 5173. I would just go and click on this 5173, and I'll show you what we have done last week. It's a bit of review of the last week, more so anything. So this was our project, and we did some really cool things. We started talking about the props. Do you guys remember that? Props, the properties that we send from one component to the other. And mostly, in most of the cases, from app to the other component. Remember? And you see that I told you that we can even send props in not only in terms of text, but rather we can send the props in terms of color or anything, and we can implement that. So I will show you some of them that we did last week, and then we'll just talk about that. So we talked about, if I just go to src and app.jsx, if I go, remember, I'll show you here. So this component, like app, my app component is calling 2 other components. Remember everyone? Which one is the first one? History. And what is the second one? About. Now, history is right now called without any props, while as about is called with a prop, which is called title, is equal to Christina, age is equal to 30. I told you whenever you are sending number, whenever you are sending true or false, you will always use curly brackets. Remember, string can go with double quotations, right? Here, color red, background color yellow. So you see that how many props I'm sending? 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 props. Make sense, everyone? Now, so history, I'm not talking about history. This is just the history component. This is history component. But after that, we have that one. So now, if I open my
my other component. And remember, I will always keep my components inside that. And what was that component? It's called about component, first of all. Make sense, everyone? About component. And now let's look at that. Rather, if you remember in history also, I called another component. Does anyone remember that? And which was that? Button. So I'll talk about history as well. Just review. I'll talk about history as well. Because these three colored buttons are coming from history. Look at that. So in history, this is the history component. Now, till this point, this is history component, right? This history component is calling another component. And what is the name of the component? Button. And do you remember we have another component with the button name? Button, I'm passing text is equal to go. Do you see the go text there? BG color is equal to green. Do you see the green background color? And I've made a button very dynamic, which I can pass a text, I can pass a color, and that will create. But how does it create that? I will have to look at the buttons code as well. Let's very quickly look at the buttons code. Look at that. Button code is nothing. A component, function, button, which is receiving how many props? 2 props. And you remember this destructuring? I told you there are multiple ways of destructuring the props. This is the best way. And today we'll start the project and you will see that why it was the best way. Because we'll have every now and then adding the props, and we'll have to just, otherwise I have to find out, okay, where do I update that? Anyhow, text and BG color. So it returns, by the way, a question. What does a component return? A React component, what does it return? In general, we say it returns so and so thing.
JSX.
I'm not asking you. I was asking you. So actually, component returns what? JSX. Remember? It's actually JSX. You see, return button. Now, button looks like HTML, but I told you this is not HTML. This is actually what? JSX, JavaScript expression. Anyhow, button style is equal to double curly brackets, background color is equal to VG color that you are receiving from back. Remember, first one receiving green, second red, third blue. So whatever color you receive, apply as a background color of that button. Then what should be the text in between the button? Like, the text that appears. Whatever text has been passed to you. You guys remember? So we are calling button component thrice in our history component, which is now showing 3 buttons. Make sense, everyone? So this is just, we are still reviewing. So this is button component. Last is the about component. Let's discuss that one as well. So the about component is here. So about component is receiving how many props? Anyone? 4 props. And what are those 4 props? Title, age, color, and BG color. And did you see that we passed them from the app component, when we are calling that? So it receives 4 things. Now here I say about me or something. H2 style is equal to color should be color, whatever color has been passed from behind. Background color should be BG color, whatever has been passed to you from the behind. And title and age should be displayed. Christina and 30. Do you guys see that? So title and age. And I'll show you one more time app.js. How did I call that one? Because that might have been slipped out. So look at that. How did I call this about component? I passed 1, 2, 3, 4 parameters from it. Everyone remembers that one? Now, this was a quick review. Today, we will start implementing a real world project, and you will really find it very interesting if you are following along with it. Now, one thing I would request everyone, try to follow with the code. I will try to give time every after instruction, and I'll wait for your feedback. And I would recommend try typing it with me, because this will give you much more confidence when later on you are doing. So now, previous is done. What I'm doing, see here. And I will ask everyone to just follow along like this. So this project I'm not talking about anymore. And I'll just make it bigger for some time, because I want to show you something. So I'll just show. So now what I'm doing, I'll close all those things. So this was our week 9, right? Now I'm in section 1. I'm creating another folder. And what should I call it? Of course, week 10. No space in the folder name. Did you guys remember that advice? Never space in a folder name. Week 10. It should be without a space. Now, I would say, now see here, I want to create a new project in week 10. Right now, one of the project is running. Do you know how to stop the running project? Control C. Control or Command C in your Mac, on your Mac, right? Control C for Personal computer. I'll start the project. Now, I want you to focus on something, please. Those who are a little bit less comfortable. Right now, I am inside what? Second app and week 9. Do I have to create my new project here? No. Where I have to create? Week 10. So I have to change my cursor back to week 10 somehow. Now I'm telling you how to change the cursor back. Now see here. I would write here. CD space dot dot after space, right? Give a space and type CD space dot dot. Yes. Control C is not working for your project. Project was running, right? Project will stop. First step, very first line. And now is that after. So you go one step time. I have to go one step forward. Yeah. Okay. You guys understand that? It is something that I should not tell you, but is it interesting to know? CD space dot dot takes you one level back. Now, do I need to go one more level back? Yes. So what I'll do? I'll do that again. CD space dot dot. I come one more level back. Am I at the right position to jump into my week 10 folder now? Yes, I am in section 2 and I have to reach the week 10. Right? Now what I'll do? Not dot dot, just CD. CD space week 10. CD space week 10. Have I finally reached the place where I have to create my project? Yes, this is the right place. Everyone is with me? So you understand the difference between CD space dot dot and CD folder name. Dot dot takes you one step back. Folder name takes you inside the folder. Okay. Now, do you guys remember the command to create a new project? npm create wheat at latest. Now, I'm calling this project a name, task tracker. I will just specifically call it task tracker. It would be task tracker for me. Hit enter. Those who are making the project for the first time, I hate to ask this, but is there anyone who is making this project for the first time? Hopefully not. Wonderful. So now I have to select what? React. Select React. Which framework, which environment or the variant? JavaScript, just JavaScript. So please try to select JavaScript. Some people leave it, so TypeScript will be selected. TypeScript is other language, which is a little bit different. Project is done. Now, does it show itself the steps to follow now? First step. No, what is this CD task tracker? I have to jump into task tracker first because I want to work in that project or I want to run that project by you. So I'll have to, from week 10, I'm right now in week 10, I have to actually jump into task tracker, right there, over there. So what I'll do, I'll run first step, CD task tracker and hit enter. Am I now inside the project? The project that would be created over here in week 10 folder. Then I don't see that, I'll open that up. So I am inside this folder now, task tracker. Now see here, in this task tracker, the next line, next step, npm. And why we are doing that, by the way? Now you know the reason as well. Do you know the reason? Actually, by default, React does not create node modules. It says, create a project quickly and then go inside that and do the npm install. So actually, we are doing the same thing, same stuff, right? So you should not be, blindly following what is going on. You should know what is happening. npm install. Do you see that? Look at the project. There is no node modules over here in my task tracker. You'll find one node modules folder soon over here popping up because that is something that is being installed or created. Does it make sense? Wonderful. Do you see that node modules already popped up? And it's still doing the configuration, installation, everything. But let's pop it up. It's already popped up. Look at that. Yeah.
So it's again node module, right?
Now listen, this is a very good question and I want to answer this right now. NPM is called Node Package Manager. NPM is called Node Package Manager. And right now you can just remember this. Actually, NPM command runs command from the Node.js environment, for the Node.js environment. Do you guys remember I told you in the beginning of installation, you need to have Node.js into your machine? So it's npm command. You can say that actually this is activating or running our node environment, node things. Make sense, everyone? NPM? This is a good question. It's called Node Package Manager. If you Google NPM, you will find there are so many interesting stuff and libraries over there. Make sense? Now, so we are good. What command now we need to run? NPM run. Actually, I'll talk about that. Actually, why do we run that? There is a dev script defining package.json that runs read project. So actually we say npm run any script name, that script runs. So do you know that there is this dev script? Have you guys seen that? I'll show you that here. Package.json. Go to package.json. Do you see a dev script at line number 7, everyone? There's a dev script. So when we say npm run, we are actually running any of the script from it. We will run build as well. We can run lint as well, whatever. We'll talk about them. But you saw actually we are running this command. So it's not something blindly we are doing. We are actually, and what will happen? This will run read command. Read command in turn, whatever project it is, it will run that project. You guys are a little bit disturbed. Does she need help? Something?
Yeah.
Okay. It's good? If you need help, you can ask me, I'll just guide you. In between, don't talk with each other, just really. Okay. Is that okay? Is that fine? So now we are actually, what we are running actually? We are running dev. Dev is a command script that has been defined in, we have not defined that, React has defined it. And by the way, we can define our own commands over here as well. I can call this dev, my name Norman, and I can run npm run Norman, then I'll have to run. We'll do that, but not right now. We are not testing that. Okay. So now let's see. npm run dev. And as Karsh asked this question, this npm is again, activate the node. Do something with the Node.js, npm, Node Package Manager. And you can later on Google it and you find out there are lots of packages. We'll use that, a lot of packages. Now my project is running. Make sense? And this project, by default, it runs at 5173. So right now we are good with that. So now this is my project. So now my project will run here. So this project comes up with a lot of stuff. But I want to today, we never looked at this stuff before, but I want you to just remember a few things that I will tell you today when we'll be discussing the topic. You see what is written over here? Count is 0. It's a button here. If I click on this button, it makes it 1, 2, 3, 4. What is that? I just want you to just keep this question in your mind. And I'll come back to this one, right? You make sense? Just remember that we had a button which I was clicking and it was just becoming 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. It was just, it kept on adding one value. So first of all, I need to make the cleanup job. Let's do a cleanup job. What's cleanup job I want to do? Do you remember that which component is actually running here? I don't want to discuss that now. Which component is running this Week plus React is showing which component? App.jsx, remember? Now open app.jsx of this. In SRC, you will find app.jsx. Now let's do a cleanup job. And I'll come here. Other than fragment, remember fragment everyone? I will remove everything. Other than fragment, I've removed everything. Rather, I've just written down H1 and I would say, for example, task tracker. Just an H1 with task tracker, right? And hit save. Of course, the page is gone and now we are here. Now, can we do some more cleanup job? Do you see that everything in Visual Studio Code that comes dull, dimmed, it means that is something that you have defined, but you have never used that. So you remember there was a React logo here before. There was a Beat logo here before. We just somehow, accidentally killed them or whatever. We killed them. If we have killed them, we can remove these two lines from here as well. Why in the world we are using that? Now, there is one more line, const count, set count, use state. This is also useless right now. So just remove line number 7 and 2 and 3. Just clean them up. Clean them up. We want to have a very clean project right now. Whatever is not used, delete that. Oh, and then line number 1 as well. You see, use state. I don't want this use state. Even though I will discuss this use state today. And I've asked you to remember one thing. The button which I was clicking and it was getting implemented. Because I'll give you a reference, it's actually use state was doing that. But anyhow, we'll talk about that. Everyone has got this cleaned up? I need to make two more files clean. App.css and index.css. Do you remember what are those two files? Which are providing styling over here. Are you stuck somewhere? Yes. Okay. Now, yeah.
Yeah, when we do assignment for React, do we need to do the change the CSS file as well? Or
Oh, I'll tell you about that. You know, when you are doing an assignment or a project or something with this, it's usually up to you, but I would prefer that you have the same way that we are following here. I'll tell you what way I'll follow. I told you. What I will do is there are two style files being connected over here, app.css and index.css. What I would do, and I would prefer you guys to do as well for the projects and everything, I will remove app.css. Maybe I can remove that file. I'll just delete that file. No one will stop you. Let's do that. Why not? And you know, let's do that and you try to follow that same. Look at that. Here you'll find app.css. Do you guys see the file? Right click that and say delete. You might be thinking, might be it's a bad thing to do, but do that. Project will get refreshed and maybe something is gone. Now, my output is gone. You know why? Because I need little more cleanup now. What is that? I have deleted that, but I am trying to import that. Can you import something which does not exist? No. So that's why you see abnormal page. Abnormal page means no output. Make sense? Clear up this line. Line number 1 is also gone. This line number 1 is gone. Now refresh that. See that? Task tracker is coming in a little bit abnormal. It was in the middle. So let's think about it. There was something in app.css that was making it centered, which is gone. Make sense, everyone? We are not worried about that because we will make our own stylings. Don't worry. One thing. Secondly, the way I would want, as someone asked question, Abhyak asked the question, what I would want, I would not delete index.css, but I will do a very killer job here as well. I'll say Control A, delete, and hit save. You would hate to see the application now because of course it has gone to the very basic. But I've done index.css all cleaned up, app.css deleted. We don't have that. And that's why we cannot import that now. But index.css is there. It is imported somewhere. Can someone tell me where it is imported? It's not imported in app. Does anyone remember where it is imported? The index.css. Anyone remember that? Main.jsx. Main.jsx. Wonderful. Remember main.jsx. Kalyan was fast enough. He just quickly went into the main.jsx and find out. Right? Okay. So yes, right now we have got this very Word document type of React application, which does not look very pretty. But anyhow, we are not worried about that. Let's start doing our own style. You know? Yeah. Oh, it's there. It's there now. It's good, but it's there now, right? Okay. Now see here. Let's do the styling of this index.css for this project. Now, first style that I would always want is margin 0. Remember everyone? Padding 0. Box sizing, border box. Do you guys remember that this styling, this resetting of the styling so that all the margin padding, everything is gone from the page? That's everyone. Margin 0, padding 0, and box sizing, border box. I hate to remind you, box sizing, border box does what? Does anyone remember? Yes.
Whenever we use padding, the
size of the box, wonderful. You know, he remembers that. Whenever we do padding and margining and everything, the box size starts becoming increased. But box sizing to border box will always keep the box size in the same thing. It will include everything inside that. It's an interview question by me. Sort of interview question. People would ask you in this CSS that why do you use box sizing instead of border box? So the reason is if I have two boxes of 300 pixel width and second box I apply 10 pixel margin, 10 pixel padding, 10 pixel border. You know what this will become? This will become 330 pixel. And if it becomes 330 pixel, the first box will be smaller, second one will be bigger. If I make border box size border box, whatever I apply, it will always remain 300 pixel. Everything will be included in that. You know, box size will not change. Make sense, everyone? This is an interview question. Sort of interview question you can always ask. Okay, wonderful. First thing is gone. I want to apply a font here. Pop-in font from the Google. Let's go to the Google.
Let's go to Uncle Google, right? And say pop-in fonts. Pop-in font. And I hope you guys remember, allow me to do this very quickly, but hopefully I'm doing that in front of you. Pop-in font is here. And I say get font. See here, everyone, get font and get embed code. And I need the pop-in font. So this is the pop-in font. So I would just say for the pop-in font, go to import. You see, I have got a lot of fonts being used over here, but pop-in is also there because I have this from there. So I'll just copy this at import, no style tag, right? Copy that. I'll come back to my application. And this import statement I would put in my CSS. And again, please don't get confused because I had selected, Garamount font, dancing script, all those. But don't worry, you might be getting just the Poppins font, right? But we actually need this one. It has Roboto as well. I just need Poppins font, right? This Poppin. And you might be getting just for Poppin font, right? So I've got the family here, and I can use any of them, but that's not required. So just taking the import statement from here, get the font, and just take out the import statement. And this is something that you have done in CSS. Why in the world I'm telling you? But again, those who forgot that. Okay, now let's come here. After that, if I want to use this font, for example, this Poppin font, look at it over here. So I say, okay, I want to select this one, Poppins thin. And now I'll show you on my page. Look at that. I come here and I say the body should have this font family. Poppins, sans serif, font weight 100. 100 is too less. I might want to say 300, something like that. And I hit save. Look at that. Look at that. Page has started to become, again, look like a web page. Something related to web. You see that? Task tracker. Good. Now remember, Wang asked a question. I'm now replying that. I would always want you to just go and write all styling in index.css. Always go and remove that app.css, right? That would try to do your own styling, right? Have you done that? We are just trying to prepare for the project. We have started the project by the way, but we are just making some previous stuff. Okay, so looks like we are all good. Now let's come back over here and we are trying to create. Now, I will first of all create on my app component. On my app component, I would like to create something over here. So for example, I'll go to my task tracker. In my SRC, I'll create a new folder. Remember everyone, always do that, components. I will create a folder called components in SRC, but remember, right? In this, I want to create a new file. And I will call it with capital H header.jsx. Now I'll just stay here and I will ask everyone to do that. I have created a components folder in SRC. And inside that, I have created a new file whose name is what? Header. Intentionally with capital H. It should always be capital word, starting capital word. But the folder can be small letter. Make sense? But this file should always, because what I'm trying to create, I'm creating a component. Remember everyone? I'm trying to create a component header. Right, everyone? Now, inside that header component, let's start making it. And did I tell you the shortcut of making that? Do you guys remember the shortcut? What is the shortcut? RACE for arrow function type component and RFCE for function like component. Make sense, everyone? Arrow function or descriptive function. Do you guys remember? I'll show you. Control Z. RFCE is, it will create a function declare type of component. Even though both are components, don't worry. But everyone likes its own way. And I would prefer always now arrow function. So RAFCE, right? Now, header is there. Sorry. Extension? Yeah, extension is ES7 React Redux. Can you just write down ES7 React Redux? Should I show that? I asked everyone to install that last time. Look at that, extensions. I'll go to the extensions and ES7 React Redux. It will just appear. Look at that. This one is the extension that I want you to install. And that gives you RFC, RFC, and things like that, right? It's ES7 plus React Redux, React Native code snippets. Got everyone? Okay. Now, we have created a header component. Now see here what I'm doing in header component. Because we want to keep our HTML that is produced from our web page also very informative. You know what I'll do? Because it's a header component. So I will, instead of receiving back div, I say that give me back the header element. Are you guys getting that one? Header element. You know what I mean? You remember that it all boils down to the normal HTML. So when it becomes normal HTML, header is header. You know what I mean? When HTML is changed, header is header. So I'm saying return the header, and inside header, I would say here, inside header, I would say here, let's say I put an H1 here and I say task tracker here, because I will put the heading in this one. Look at that. I've just changed my header component like this. I'm waiting for the thumbs up from everyone. Online environment, right? Well, everyone is good with that? Wonderful. Header. So you see that it will boil down to header code. And in HTML header, you know what is the HTML header? It's a header element, the introductory area of the page, right? Now, I need to call this component in my app, on my app. Should I do that? Let's go back. And let's open our app. Now, I want this to appear over here. So I say header. Is it okay? And it will call that? No. Someone says no. Why? I have to import that. Make sense, everyone? I'm not import. You see that my output has gone abnormal again. Why? Because I'm not. So how to import that? Do you guys remember the way to import? Again, just come here and write import header from /. Is it in the components? Yes. And what is that? Header. No JSX, remember. Are you guys getting that one? As I hit save, look at that. Look at my output. I'm getting 2 task tracker. And of course, it's very obvious why we are getting 2 task trackers. First task tracker from my component, my app. Second task tracker is coming from header, because header also has a task tracker H1. Now, very swiftly, I want you to do something. Remove this H1 task tracker from here. I just need this first one. This will be enough for the introduction. I just want header to have the task tracker. Not here. Make sense? I do want to do one more thing. I want to, rather than using a fragment, I want to use a div here, even though we can do that with the fragment. And I want to give a class name is equal to container. You know, I'll show you. I'll create a container class to have a proper container for my document. Make sense, everyone? So see here, I've given the class name container and header inside that. Make sense? It is a header component being called here, and the class name of container we have applied over there. I would want everyone to just point out to me that you're good, then I'll move forward. Wonderful. Thank you. See here. And if someone gets stuck at any point of time, please very quickly call me, and I can, because you know, I can solve the problem right now. But if you call after 10 steps, it will be difficult for me even to just help you out. Because you know, you have missed so many things. And if you're trying to follow and you get stuck, just follow. Now, let's do everything step by step. I have given a class, and why have you written down the class name? Because it's JSX. Remember, everyone? And I cannot write class. It will complain. Remember? My browser will complain. Okay. So should I first of all create this container class and apply the styling to that one? Let's do that. Now, open your index.css. And here, see here, how do we create class? Dot container. Are you guys getting that one? Now, first thing I always apply is border. Let's apply border. 1 pixel, solid, and let's say steel blue or something, any blue color or anything. I've applied the border to that one. Make sense? So I'm programming for the container. I'm writing styles for the container. Now I want to give it a width. Width, for example, 500 pixel, or I should say max width, max width 500 pixel. You should not go more than 500 pixel. You see that it will remain 500 pixel. Max width 500 pixel. Now its margin. Margin is very interesting. I would say 40 pixel top and bottom and auto from left and right. Do you know what does that mean? Some CSS scaling also coming out. Look at that. What is happening? 40 pixel top and bottom. So top is 40 pixel and bottom should be 40 pixel, which we don't see. And left and right is what? Auto means what? Whatever space is available, 500 pixel will adjust itself. This is a way to, if you want to centralize something, you can just do that. CSS thing. Now, I want to give a height as well to this one. I want to give it a height. So I'll say minimum height equal to 300 pixel. For example, I want to give 300 pixel. Look at that. It's becoming good. It is starting to become, because we'll create a task tracker inside this container, right? The other thing I want to do, I would like to say border radius, because, web always like to have smoother border than the sharper. What should I do? Anyone else? Can someone help with some CSS? What other CSS I should do? Padding. I need padding. Do you see that task tracker is very near to the edges of both top and left edges? So why should not I apply padding? And I say padding of 20 pixel all sides, right? Left, right, top, bottom. Look at that. It has started to look little better now, right? Sorry. I can do the text center as well. I'm not doing that. Wonderful. I can do that align text or text align center. I can do that, but I'm not doing that right now. Why? Because I will bring a button also to add the task tracker. So I'll just do that. Are we good to go? Are we good to move? Wonderful. So we have got a container now. Looks very pretty, and it has some. Now we can just do a lots of fun stuff inside that one. Now comes the first fun part. I go to app, and I say, instead of displaying task tracker directly, can I pass a title prop to header, and that title prop is displayed over there? Are you guys getting that one? I want to pass a title prop, and I'll tell you why I'm doing that. So I say title is equal to, for example, I'm changing that to-do list, for example. I've passed a prop header title is equal to to-do list. Header title is equal to to-do list. Now, do I need to catch in my header component now? Of course, if you throw something from here, you will have to catch it over there, right? Now, what I'll do, I'll open my header component, and I would say, remember the easiest way of catching something? Just write its name in a curly bracket. Remember? And I'll keep on increasing that. And I told you that you will really appreciate when we have multiple props. You will say, okay, now it looks like that we are able to just do that. Now, where should I put this title? Anyone? I come here in the H1. In the H1, I come here and I say, put the title over here. You guys understand that one? The prop title that was passed from behind, I have just displayed that. And can I call multiple times header with multiple titles? Of course, I can have any number. Remember the button component, I can have multiple. So just for testing purpose, even though it's not very desirable, but for testing purpose, for those who are a little bit less comfortable, can I call this again? Yes. Call this thousands of times. In just one call, it will come up. So let's call with the right one, text task tracker. Look at that. I have got header twice. So no one stops you from having header twice over here. Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
So,
Sorry. It says title. Can you go the header? Actually, you did not put curly brackets. It is a variable. So whenever you put a variable, it has to be the curly bracket. Wonderful. And I'm happy that you asked that. Save that. You got it? Yeah. If it is a variable, you have to have curly brackets, right? You have a question? Yeah. Excuse me. Yeah.
It shouldn't create two different
Mhm.
boxes
Two different boxes for this.
for this header.
Mhm.
So we have two components now,
Okay, that's a very good question. Now listen,
two divs.
it should create two diffs.
Oh no, oh no, I'm just confused.
Now listen. Actually, I will try to answer what I understand from your question.
No.
Do you guys know that I have called this header twice? Makes sense, everyone? Even though its code will be generated, I will show you HTML. Its code will be generated over there. But do you know a very interesting fact? That it is called in one call. It's not like calling it twice. That is the beautiful thing about the components. Even though the code will be generated for everyone separately. Should I show you the code and show you something interesting here? Look at that. If I go here, I show you the code being generated here in the elements. Div ID is equal to root. You see div ID is equal to container. And in container, do you see two headers? First is this, which has to-do list, and the second one is this, which has the task tracker. Do you guys understand? Even though it is generating its own code, but remember, that is the beautiful thing about the components, that they will be called in one call. They are not considered two different calls. Like that, everyone? That's made them so much lightweight and all those stuff that we talked about. Anyhow. Now see here, let's close that. And now, by the way, I don't need both of them. Rather, what I will do, I'll delete swiftly. I'll delete the first one because I don't need that one. I just need this. Make sense, everyone? Now, let's open the header component. I want to have, in the header component, I want to have a button with this header component. For example, I want to have a button component, button here. And that button should say add. Button should say what? Add. Can someone help me? I want this button and this text to be on the side by side level. What technique I should use? CSS question. Display inline, display flex. Do you remember display flex? Whenever you are a container, you have two things and you want to bring them side by side. Do what? Do display flex. Wonderful. Thank you. Now, where should I apply this display flex? You know, it's always applied on the container. So can I apply a class here of header or something and do the coding in that one? Make sense? Now see that. Let's do that. Now let's come back here and let's do that. I'll come here and I'll say class name equal to header. I'll create a header class, right? It's up to me. I can create anything. Class name is equal to header. I come to index.css and I define a class header. Remember, if you don't put a dot, it will become for the element. Remember, everyone? You know, if it is dot, it's considering it a class, right? Header. Now, I say first thing, display flex. Look at that. Good stuff. It is already done what we are trying to do. Has it done that? The second thing, justify content. And I want to have justify content space between because I want to have on the both corners, like on one corner, second another corner. Is everyone with me? We have two things and answer. Now, do you see that button is coming abnormal? So I'll have to do align items on the center to make this button normal. Aligning them in the center. Make sense? They are all aligned on center now. Flex and they are aligned on center. Make sense? Let's keep it header till this point. I want to see that button is not looking pretty. Button is very bad. Should we make a interesting stuff here? I come in the header and to the button, I say, okay, let's create a class. And you know, I'm doing everything from scratch. Let's create a button class, BTN. Make sense, everyone? I'll try to make a BTN class that will have a style of the button and that will help me that I can apply that style anywhere, right? BTN class. Now, go to index.css. Come here and say BTN. Now, first of all, I want you to have, for example, border none. I don't want any border around you. I'm talking to the button. See that? Button has already started looking a little bit cooler, right? No border. What else I want? I want your width to be, for example, 30 pixel. Let's try that. 30 is very small. So I say 70 pixel. 70 pixel. 70 looks better, right? 70 pixel width. I want to give it a height as well. And I would say 30 pixel. Let's see that 30 works good. Looks good. 30 pixel, right? I want to give it a background color. And I say black. Just go with the black color. And go with the text color of white. Go with the text color white. Now, you see that font size does not look that good, prettier. I want to make it bigger. So I can say 17 pixel, for example. Looks good. Can I make it to 18? I think that's also fine. And now, webby thing, border radius. Apply a 5 pixel border radius. Look at that. Isn't that button is started to look a little bit better, much better? I'm waiting for a thumbs up from everyone. Good, wonderful. Now see here, I want to do few more things. Do you see that this is my button? And when I take my cursor, it does not happen. There is a property that you might have set, cursor pointer. The cursor should become pointer on this button. Make sense, everyone? And this is one property that you will always apply if you want to make something as a button like, right? Cursor pointer. Just say cursor pointer. Now, suddenly button has started to look very beautiful. You know, it's looking good, by the way. All right, so we have got the button ready here. Now we are switching our gears and we'll do something stuff. We'll continue to work in this project. Alongside this project, I will introduce a folder in our components, or maybe in SRC, that I will keep for discussion of different topics. Make sense, everyone? What does that mean? You guys just listen to this and later on you can do that. What I'll do, I'll come in this components and in components, we have got all the components that are running over here. In components, I'm creating another folder and I'm calling it topics. You understand why I'm making that? If I will want to discuss something special, I will go to there and I will create some component temporarily. Later on, I can delete this folder. Make sense, everyone? So this folder is temporarily there, but it will be very good of use because you'll be using it. So topics. Inside topics, let's create our first component. Inside topics, let's create our first component. And I'm calling it users.jsx. Just we can call it anything. This is not part of directly our project, right? I want you to understand something very interesting. Users.jsx. Yes. Fine. So first I have created a folder of topics. You know why? Because I want to keep these topic folders separately. These are my project component. So I want to keep the temporary components separate. Because later on, what I do after the completion, I can just delete this topic folder because I'm just discussing them to make you understand something. It won't become the part of the project. Make sense, everyone? We are making it just for testing purposes. You can call it testing. I do not call it testing because testing is a technical name for a testing folder. We have a test folder. Anyhow, users component. Has everyone met that? Now, let's come and create our users component. I'll come here and I'll say RAFCE. Hit enter. Users component is ready. Users component is ready here. Right? And now, I will first call this in app temporarily. I will delete that later on. I want it to come here, users. Will it come directly? No. Everyone knows. I will have a problem. What's the problem? Import. I keep on doing this intentionally so that you remember that whenever something happens, what I'm doing wrong. So yes, let's go to the top and say import. Now see, users from, this is an interesting point, // I go into components. Now inside that, do I find the users over here? No. It's where? Inside the topics. Do you see that if you go with the way you don't have to think about anything. You see that I have to select what topics. Is that inside topics? Yes, it is there. So I select that one. Make sense, everyone? And if I hit Control S, look at that. You guys see our component is back and user is displayed over. The users component is there. Make sense, everyone? Good. Now, I'm actually about to tell you that how to work with some interesting stuff. So let's come to the users component here. In my users component, I'll come here and I'll say, for example, I'll put an H1 here and I will say data, for example. I want to display certain different data. So, we have different types of data. If I have a normal string variable, let name or f name is equal to ln. You guys remember, I can just display it normally. I can come here and I can say any of the paragraph and I can say first name is equal to f name. Do you guys remember that one? No big deal. Everyone remembers that? Just for my question, for my understanding. Did I tell you that we can define variable like this and we can access them over here? Right? So we have just called that one. No big deal. The big deal will start now when we will discuss that. I can have a numeric value, any value, and I can just display that like this. You know why I have just discussed that? I want to discuss how you can display an object data. So for example, I say small user is equal to curly brackets, and I say ID1, name Alan Smith, and say, for example, email alan@gmail.com. Now, if I have, instead of this f name, like, normal string, if I have an object data, right? Object data. So how would I display that? No big deal. I'll just come here and maybe I'll just give a heading, H2 here, and I would say object data. Look at that. I'm trying to display the object data over here, right? And how would I display that? So let's say paragraph, and I say ID is equal to user.id. Everyone understand that one? Name is equal to user.name. And for example, email is equal to user.email. No big deal. You guys know that. You see that? The record comes up over here. Does that make sense to everyone? I'm going step by step, even though I have to actually reach to a particular place. If it is a normal string, just print that f name, whatever. If it is an object data, like this, user dot. Remember, everyone? What if I have this data? Let users equal to, this is something old. You guys remember we have done this a number of times, curly brackets. And I have 3 users together here. So I'll copy this user here. Do you guys understand? ID 2, I'll just change the data 2, and I'll change just the first name so that save our time. Bob and 3. And again, let's change the name. Christina, and email also to Christina. I'm just trying to tell you how you would read an array of data, which is very interesting, which is very obvious, but here it's a little different. That's why, do you guys know how to read this one? Can anyone tell me if I want to read in your normal JavaScript, you have this object array. How would you read that? You have multiple functions. We have for each. I can read every record by for each. I have map. Do you guys remember the map? And when I was discussing map and filter and all those stuff, do you guys remember in this very class, I was just screaming that I was saying that please try to understand that this will be of help used in React, because I'm about to just show you that down, if you go 6 weeks, 7 weeks before, rather 8 weeks before, in the first few weeks I was telling you map is very important. Try to understand map, filter. We'll use every one of them over here. And React You will use them a lot. But anyhow, now, would you allow me, I will keep the variables on the top. Would you allow me to just delete all this just to keep my component a little cleaner? Make sense, everyone? I just don't want to show anything so that you're very clear. If you want, you can just delete that or you can keep that. So now I'm telling you how to read an array of objects in React. So see here, what is the way of doing that? The first thing is I will just come and I'll put a curly bracket over here. I want to read the data, all the data of users. Make sense, everyone? Users. So I will say users dot map, and I'll go line by line. Users dot map. Rather, yes, there's something wrong. Users dot map. I would like to show you something very important here. It's a square value. This is equal to square value. It's an array of objects. Delete that. It's an array. So I delete the other one. I can make it over here. Oh, delete the second one. Oh my God! What was that? You're not listening to me. Do you have better? Wonderful. You're so smart. Okay, so this is now. This should be now. Right? So trying to just keep it, I just explain that that's an array of objects rather than objects of objects. Okay. Now please listen, and this is very important. I would like you to just focus on. I would always take the users, the data, and I'll say map it. Right? Can anyone remind me what map function does actually? Map function takes the collection, applies some operation, and returns the array. Do you guys remember that one? For each does not do that. What for each does? For each does reads the collection, applies some operation, and stops here. Remember everyone? Map actually returns a new array. So now listen. In this, what we'll do, we'll have our users array, which is array. I'll map it, and I will try to create a function that returns me JSX. That returns me what?
Yes.
Here is the point. And do you know that map actually takes a callback function inside that? For every value? Remember everyone? I'll show you. Actually, map does what? Map actually runs a callback function inside that. Do you guys remember that one? For every value of users. Are you guys getting that one? Now see, I will come here and I will say, whenever one user comes, this is one user. Now, here is the catch, very interesting catch. This is the usual syntax that we have followed before, curly brackets over here. I want everyone to see here because, if you don't understand that, we have to do this type of thing so many times in our project. So previously it was curly brackets. Remember, for working in React with map, we don't use curly brackets here. We use parentheses over here as well, which will look very odd to you right now. But be with me, don't type it and look at that over. Just look at that over here. Instead of returning the curly brackets, I'm putting that over here, rounded brackets. And you know why? I'll tell you the reason. Actually, here map will be returning, but it will be returning JSX. It will not be returning normal JavaScript. Are you guys getting that one? Now see here. I will come here in this function, and I would say, so for example, I would say, what? So for example, let's take a div. And I take a div here. I might have to type that over there. And I say, just take out user dot name. Just I want the username. I want you to understand something over here. You see that? Am I getting all three names? Alan, Bob, and Christina. Look at that. This syntax will a little bit be confusing, and that's why I just stopped here and I want you to understand. Users.map, inside that user and the function actually having parentheses, which we have not done before. And you know why I'm telling you that? Because it is returning JSX. It is returning what? This is not normal JavaScript or HTML or CSS. It's what? It's actually amalgamation, JSX over here. Are you guys getting that one? I have a little tricky question here, and I want you to, and I'm asking this question to make you understand. And I don't want everyone to reply. I want some specific people to reply because that there is an answer behind. And if I make another div here and I say user.email here and I close this div, Now I'm not hitting save, but do you already see that I have some abnormality in my code? Can someone guess why this abnormality is here? Sorry? Wonderful. Do you guys remember JSX has to be wrapped around in one wrapper? One wrapper. It has to be. It can be div, it can be a fragment. Do you remember that? And we discussed that, last week. Do you guys remember that? You see, and why I asked this question? I want you to just, focus that. Actually, what is returning from here is JSX. And JSX cannot come in two pieces. Remember everyone? JSX has to come in one wrapper, one piece. Are you guys getting that one? It's a very important thing. So it means someone will be thinking that how can I just make one wrapper over? You can always do that. Do you know that I can in this div, I can make it a one wrapper as well. Look at that. I can say, okay, for example, I say name. Makes sense, everyone? Inside this div. And I say, for example, I say email and I said user.email. Makes sense? And let's keep it like this. Look at that. I've got name, Alan Smith, email, Alan@gmail, and there is no space coming up because I've not done anything at all over here. So I can do a lot of interesting stuff over here. Name and email both are coming. Why not? I know that I have the HTML space over here. Can I do that? Yes, I can do that. I can just put a BR there. Why not? Yeah. Okay. No problem. Yeah. Oh yeah, wonderful. That's a very good question. Kash, so Kash has asked a question that I was not expecting someone will ask, but Kash has asked a very nice question. Kash is asking what? Now everyone, I want everyone's attention because this is something that will give you a little bit of point of thinking. Kash is saying that when you are saying that JSX should be wrapped in one wrapper, we are discussing about that. So he says there is one wrapper from this point to this point. Why in the world we are having another wrapper over here? Can someone reply to that one? Do you get the question? He says there is a one wrapper, div and div. Why you are talking about another wrapper over here? Yeah. Listen, forget about any place. Wherever we are getting returned some JSX, that JSX has to be in one wrapper. Now, this is all JSX that is returned by this users component. And this is some JSX that is returned just by the map function. Are you guys getting that one? So actually map is here returning this one. And whenever it is returning, there is no return keyword. You don't need that because map, remember map does what? Returns and creates a new array. So it's actually creating list and it's just returning over here. Everyone understand that one? Now here is a little, so see that. So now you understand if I give you some data and you can display that on your React component. This is component being loaded with the data. I have loaded my email and name and email. You can load. Now here is a little thing that I want you to understand. And those who will understand, they will only know. If I come, looks like everything is going normal. If I go to inspector, I will find console is complaining. Console is complaining. What complaint is there? Look at that. It says each child in a list should have a unique key prop. This is some React thing. React says if you are having a list of data, every element should be recognized uniquely. Which happens in the database as well, primary key. Have you heard about primary key? Database have. So React also says if you are having, which list it is talking about? It is talking about Alan, Bob, and Christina's record. It says there are three. It seems like you are having in list there are three records, but there is nothing unique passed on. Even though there is a unique value, remember ID is the unique for everyone, but I'm not past that. It's a value of the object. So it says it should have unique. So remember, every time you run a list, you have to do a very interesting stuff. For every record, you will come here and you will say key is equal to. Now here, do you know user ID is the key? Can behave as a key? Now look at that. Are you guys understanding that complaint is gone now? What is that? It's a React thing. React says whenever you are having a list. So this was the list. 1, 2, 3. There are 3 records over here. Make sense? React says if you have 3 records, they should be uniquely identified. Right? Uniquely identified. Now see here. I said, so React said whenever you are creating one item, it should have a unique key prop. So I said, okay, key is equal to user ID. Do I know that? Yes, ID is a unique value. And I just use that ID over here.
But is it possible that we have some data which does not have a unique ID? Maybe. You can have some data, you can come across data when there is no ID over there. You get my question, what I'm saying? User.id is unique, I know. If, who knows that user.id was same for two people or three people. Even ID was not unique. It might happen. Or there is no ID field over there. Are you guys getting what I'm saying? I want everyone attention because this is something that is for everyone's use. Now see here. Users.map, user.id. Now, if for some moment, let's think about there is no unique key prop. There is no unique prop. What I will do in that situation?
Should I just quickly make a data and play with that? So for example, I'll just come here and I say remove ID. You guys don't do that. I'm just showing you and I'll do that Control Z later on. And I'll show you that better. So now what will happen? I'm saying that key.id and let's come over here. Now console is again complaining. And you know why it is complaining? Because there is no user.id now. Are you guys getting that? So it's again not getting a unique key value. I'm telling you what to do in that situation. And a lot of people are not listening to this. And again, that will happen. So now listen, if you do not have anything unique in your data, and that might be possible, what you will do, whenever we run users.map or we run for each or we run any of the function that actually runs through the list, it automatically generates index behind, which we don't know. Array comes up with the index 0, 1, 2, 3. They also generate an index, interestingly, which is not shown on the top. How I can use that? Look that, and please look at that, and then you'll do that. So whenever it produces an element, it also produces an index behind. Are you guys getting that one? Map, filter, all those functions, when they run through a list, on the backdoors, they produce an index. And it can be called anything. It's not index value. I've just named it. You can call it I as well. Remember, for I is equal to 0, we can name it anything. Now listen, if index is a unique value that is generated with every record, I'm pretty sure it will be always unique for every record because it is generated automatically. So can I pass this over here? Look at that. I'll just come here and I will say, you guys understand that? It's something that I've told you that might be you not be able to maybe find in the literature somewhere, So what's that? It's actually index or any, you can just say I. If you say I will be here. But if I ask you a question, I'll stop here. If I ask you a question, do you guys all understand what is this index? Where this index is coming from? Map is generating that on behind. Right? Map is generating that on behind. Some people would use a little other technique. One of my students used that technique. He did what, he defined a variable somehow over here, and he just add plus with that one. Every time the record comes, a plus add, and that number becomes unique. So it's your creativity, how much you want to create, or how much creativity Copilot is giving you. Right? Okay. So this is basically what? This is index, and this key is equal to index is basically giving what? It's telling us that, okay, I can have a unit. So I don't want you guys to, maybe you can just remember this one, maybe, or you want to keep it. Let's keep it over here and you want to copy that. When I share the code, you have your IDs over there, but in the code, you can just look at that. This is index that is generated. And again, remember this index can be named anything. And every loop when it runs an index behind, which we don't see, which we don't need. And at times, if you need it, go and get that in the parameters list, right? I or whatever, that will become the number. Yeah.
What if we want to start the key from one?
Which one?
Key.
The key from?
One.
Okay. So, for the map, for the automatic, all the functions that are available, we cannot change that. But I told you one of the method that a student used. You can say index equal to 1 from here. The default value that we said. But again, usually because you can say index equal to 1, so 1 it will start with the 1. And it will keep on maybe increasing, or you can say plus somewhere. You know what I mean? So that's all your all creativity. Everyone understands this one? Everyone's good with it? I just want to, yeah.
Key is equal to index plus 1.
Here? Yeah, you can do that index plus 1 as well. Yes, you can do that. You can do that. Perfectly, you can do that. But right now we are not printing this index anywhere at all. We are just using it for the key prop. It's not, we are not using that. Everyone is good with that one? So let's do a little thing and then we take a break. Why I discuss this users? Because I wanted you to know how to read array of objects in React application. Make sense? Yeah. Yeah, sure.
Could be late to ask this, but saying users of map and then brackets users is the same as saying for each user instead of the list users.
Okay. So what you are saying is that what I understand is actually, this question is from week 2 question. Because in week 2 we discussed that and I'll tell you, no problem. Now see here, you are saying that users dot map and you say that here I'm writing user, right?
Yeah.
This is something you want to say, right? Now listen, and you're saying that is it equal to the for each?
For each user
Uh-huh.
instead of the list user.
Yeah.
Is it the same?
No, if I want to call for each, I'll have to again use this same syntax. Look at it. I'll have to say for each. And here also one of the user will come as a value. Do you guys remember that one? For each is also like that. But I understand what I can read your mind. You are trying to say if I run a for loop over here,
It's like the
not for each. Sorry,
same concept, like saying.
the for loop. If you're talking about this for loop, that is all a different story altogether.
Oh no, I'm
This one,
but for each, yeah,
for each. So for each, if you use, it will also be used like this.
same syntax.
And what will be the difference? There will be no returning from the for each. It is returning this JSX. And for each will not return this JSX. It will produce the JSX. And you'll have to handle that. But the map is automatically returning that as well. Make sense? But would you guys remember this syntax? And I'm just writing it over here. Users dot map. And inside map, we have a callback function. And here comes the interesting part. It has parentheses over here. Make sense? And again, one item at a time. You can call one item at a time. Take one item at a time from the users. Apply this function, get back this JSX. This is JSX that is coming from here. Make sense, everyone? Now, we are about to implement this on our main project. And now see here, what I'll do. First thing I'll do is, again, I don't need this users anymore. Rather, I'll go to my in component and I'll create a new component for my project, not for topics. Remember, everyone? So in the components, create a new component and call that tasks.jsx. Tasks. We are making task tracker, right? Tasks.jsx. Now look at that task.jss. Let's quickly create that RAFCE. RAFCE created. And now instead of that users, I don't want this users here, right? I will delete that. Remember, everyone, this is temporary. And I'll remove its import as well. My file will remain very clean. Now I need to import what? Anyone? Tasks. From /component/ tasks is on the top, on the components, not the topics, right? I come here and I say tasks. Look at that. Is that good with everyone? Tasks. Now, last thing before we, as I said, before we go for the break, last thing I want to do, I'll go in the tasks. And before this, I'll come here. Rather, I'll come here inside the body before return. And I would say const tasks is equal to, again, array. Karsh, please remember this is array, right? Array of objects. And I'll produce 3 tasks here. Right? And the first task I'll say, for example, I would say ID1. Title of the task is, for example, appointment. And rather title, I'll say text. Text is appointment. And day, there is a day variable, and I'm just putting a string, and I would say March
2025 at 5 p.m. And I'm setting up another value, reminder is equal to true. I'm trying to make a task, right? Let's copy this and create it over here, paste it and paste it. And now I'll do what? ID is equal to 2. And I would say, for example, doctor's appointment here, something like that. And let's change the date. Let's keep the time, and reminder is false. I don't want any reminder for that. And number 3, I would say, for example, gym or something. Not gum, gym. And I would say day is equal to April, change the timing. And let's say false reminder, just one true reminder. Look at that, I've created this array of objects. Same ways as we created the users, right? And I want to actually bring these tasks on my page. Now, everyone has created that? Just copy paste and change the data. And even if you don't change the data, you know that you have the data, right? And by the way, we won't be creating this data. Do you remember? We have got so many APIs. We'll actually fetch the data from there. But right now we are doing that for us, right? Okay. And now come here. And interestingly, I just want to have here these values coming up and running that. So what I'll do is that I'll put a curly brackets here and I'll say tasks dot map. Inside that, one task at a time. I'm just going a little faster and I'll stop there. And I would say div key is equal to task.id because I have the task ID. Oh, what is this div? No. It has just gone out of something. So I'll just try to do that again. So I'll do is that I'll say tasks.map. And inside that, I know there will be a function task that will take one task and that will return div. It will have a return div as well, like that. Do you see automatically you have just generated key task.id? Remember, we have an ID unique and we will have a list. So let's do that side by side. Let's say h4 task.text and paragraph task.day. And let's not talk about the reminder. Can I have a response? I will be waiting for the response from everyone who is done with that. The tasks should be visible on my page now. Wonderful. Now here, I'm going to do a little more not interesting thing. I would allocate a class of style here as well. And I might call it class name is equal to, and let's say, I say task. I'll define a class of task, right? Make sense, everyone? Class name is equal to task. Because I have 4 tasks coming up, so I want to style them, give them style, right? Are we good to go? Next step from behind. from that side is good. Okay. Now I will create this task class to just make it a little bit interesting, and then we'll take the break, right? So task. So see here, I want to give, for example, a background color to this one, maybe a light background color. Let's do this one. See that? I've just given a background color. Let's apply some styling. And I would say padding. Yes, I want a 10 pixel padding because they're very near to each other, very near to the lines, right? Then I would like to give margin here as well. Margin of 5 pixel should be enough. No, I'll say 10. Oh, okay. Okay. I just got it because, okay. I'll tell you what's happening. I was saying why they are not going from away from each other. You know why they are not going away from each other? You should know that. Because I've applied the class over here rather than over here. Make sense? I've applied the class over all the tasks. No, I have to apply to each individual task. Remember? So I've done that mistake and I find out my mistake because I don't see tasks are not getting separated from each other. You know what I mean? So I'll cut this from div. Look at that. I'll cut this from div and I'll come to this div inside div in the map. And I'll just paste it over here. No big deal. Class name is equal to task to the task, not the tasks, right? Hit save and look at my output. Do you quickly see my output? It has gone now normal. Okay, and then what else I want? Okay. So we have reached to a very interesting point. Do you want to just add a little more spice to it before we go for a break? Because it's very interesting and I cannot resist to discuss that. Can we discuss like 5 more minutes? It will be very interesting. I want to include some icons over here. And React has a very interesting way of adding the icons. Did you guys use the icons in your websites? Font awesome icons? Has anyone used them? It was not that difficult over there as well, but in React it's very interesting. See here what I'll do. First step to add the icons. I just want to add the icons. The first step is because one terminal, my project is running. I might come and I open another terminal, by the way. You know why? Because I don't want to stop my project for the time being. I open another terminal. But the only thing that you have to remember is that you have to go into that particular folder. Remember, this is section 1, CD week 10. Are you guys getting that one? And CD task tracker. You know what I'm saying? Go in the same folder with another terminal because I don't want to stop my project, but I want to install something, right? Now see, I'll do it in a rush right now and I'll come back and I'll discuss that, but let's do it in the rush. NPM I for install React-icons. NPM I React-icons. NPM I React-icons. Hit enter. It will install React icons. Now see that. Installed. Now, everyone got installed, NPM I, and now I can kill this terminal. You know why? Because I don't need that anymore. I just opened it for my project, for installation. Now, before we go anywhere else, I'll just come here and I'll show you just right here, React icons. Right here, React icons. And go to this GitHub pages, first GitHub pages. And again, just let's do this in a rush. Open the font awesome 5 icons and select any random icon from here. For example, I want this icon for and see here, I'm just telling you very quick. Copy this first code from here, import FA Accusoft from React icons FA. Come back in the tasks and put that import on the very top. Make sense, everyone? And I will now even close that one and I'll show you something really cool. I come here and now wherever I want to place this icon in the insert H4 of the task.txt, I'll just come here and I'll just call this FA Accusoft like icon. Look at that. And I hit save. I was very fast, I know. I'll just discuss that, discuss that. But you guys say that I've copied that from React icons, import FA Accusoft from React icon slash FA, which is font awesome, right? And then I just call it like an element. And do you see a very interesting icon has already appeared with my every task? It's not, oh, no problem. If it's not appearing, no problem. We'll discuss after break. But the last thing that I would like to do here is applying, we can even apply the styles to that one. Look at that. I can say style is equal to double curly bracket, color red. Now this will blow you away. Look at that. Look at that. We have just applied a color red. Do you see that? If you do that, style is equal to color red. Now see that the icon is coming in red color. Make sense, everyone? Finally, we should take the break, right? And that's we should wait. So let's take a break and we'll be back after the break. Is that interesting, everything? You guys find it interesting? So, I'm just telling you everything that you might need for your, even when you appear for interview. That's why I just, stop you guys and say that just listen to me. I'm just discussing something that will be of very important use. Someone might ask you why you use the rounded parentheses with the map in the React. So you should be able to answer because we are getting back what? The JSX. And JSX should come in this rounded parenthesis and a one wrapper. And then one wrapper. Okay. Thank you very much. And see you soon after the break.